Thank you, Chris. And before I start, I'd like to say how smart our young people are. So proud of you. And as Dr. Salah was saying, we are here to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And yesterday in my Republic Day speech, which was my last speech, however, this is the most important speech of the year, in my regards, I dedicated that to fundamental human rights, and that is why you have a copy of the speech on your chairs. So it is truly my pleasure to welcome so many students and student organizations and expert speakers to San Anton Palace to participate in this evening's discussion, which I'm sure is going to be very, very interesting. We are together to commemorate, as I said, the 70th anniversary since the United Nations brought into being the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. 4 days ago, the world was reminded of this momentous event in the history of our universal human family. However, after 7 decades, we must also be aware of the urgent need for us to do more, both as individuals and as a nation, to effectively safeguard the rights of every member of our society. The Universal Declaration is an essential instrument which makes it clear that our communities, our countries, and the international community as a whole share a common responsibility. These are universal because they have no nation and no frontier. It is our shared responsibility to celebrate and to protect the universal rights and fundamental freedoms of all people without distinction, whoever they are and wherever they come from. Human rights establish the standards which we need to live in peace and dignity. Human rights also focus our attention on the values of equality, respect, and justice, which are the foundations for a full and healthy democracy. Most importantly, I believe that human rights are a way of life. The fact that in 2015, the United Nations felt the need to bring about Agenda 2030 is further proof of how far we are from effectively implementing universal human rights. This is because the United Nations Agenda 2030 and its 17 Sustainable Development Goals gives us a roadmap for the implementation of these rights. Agenda 2030 commits us as individuals, but also our governments and the international community to take meaningful and practical action to ensure that the rights of all the people of the world are being respected and safeguarded. As students, you are at a period of time in your lives and as young people when you must stand up for these rights if you want to live in a full and effective democracy and in peace. A commitment to the principles of human rights will give you the ability to understand that injustices at a social, economic, and environmental level are threatening life itself. This is because our rights are deeply interconnected, and they link us together as one humanity. For this reason, the choices we make in Europe will have a different effect on how the rights of others are enjoyed or violated in other regions. For example, even the clothes we wear can affect the rights of others. I'll give an example. The indicators from the International Labour Organization state that out of 170 million children who are involved in child labor, many of them are engaged in producing textiles and garments to satisfy consumer demand in the West. However, the legacy of colonialism and imperialism, which lacks respect for universal human rights, is directly contributing to turmoil in North Africa and the Middle East. The ongoing effects of this damaging legacy is leading to the fact that many individuals and families are fleeing and risking their lives to seek protection. Millions of people are also escaping from areas which are severely and increasingly affected by climate change. And this is due to the destructive activities which are largely being carried out by industrialized countries, which are still overwhelmingly dependent on non-renewable sources of energy, as we all know. Such violations of these rights must urge you as young people to take action. I do not only see you as the young people of Malta, but I see you as the citizens of the world. We must act boldly and courageously, not only because such injustices are having an effect on our lives, but because the duty to care for and to support one another as one human family is the right thing to do, and also our responsibility. This is what universal human rights are all about. We need to build a culture that is ethical, that promotes peace, and that nurtures respect. This is the only kind of culture which will effectively safeguard human dignity, which is at the core of our fundamental human rights, and in the process, create inclusive prosperity. It is so essential that young people are active participants in the necessary democratic processes and structures of our country. I believe that your voices as young people should be heard, because you are not only our present, but you are the future leaders of our nation and the world. During my Republic Day speech, I urged all the young people to participate in the voluntary sector. Your participation in the voluntary sector is crucial because it gives you the possibility to develop the skills of critical thinking, active citizenship, and leadership. Such qualities will make you effective contributors to the common good, which is so important. Your involvement in civil society is essential to keep human rights high on our national and international agenda. This appeal is also linked to the latest indicators from the Eurobarometer on youth, which tells us that the participation of young people in the voluntary sector in Malta has decreased by 4 percentage points. When young people are empowered to participate in civil society and to participate in the democratic process, I believe that they have the ability, you have the ability, to make a valuable and innovative contribution to further strengthen universal human rights and fundamental freedoms. On concluding, dear young people, our young people, I am confident that it is indeed possible for us to build a culture that is firmly rooted in the values of universal human rights. To do so, we must ensure that everybody shows the appropriate respect for the rights of others, including the growing cultural diversity that distinguishes Malta as a multicultural society. Throughout my term as president, I have met with so many students and young people from many different walks of life, have impressed me with their knowledge, their determination, and their vision for the future of our country and our world. And this is why I believe that Malta will continue to develop its unique vocation as a hub for peace and dialogue in our Euro-Mediterranean region. I am confident that as young people, when you put the values of human rights into practice, you will be doing so much to ensure the ongoing democratic development of our society, our region, and our entire world. I'm truly proud of you. Thank you.